Welcome to DoMyMarketing.com's weekly mortgage newsletter success guide. Today we're going to chat a bit about ways to generate business, building your initial referral list. Even if you've already got a list, we'll offer some hints and tips for making your list even better. Then we'll quickly cover a few of the biggest pitfalls in building your referral list, and we'll wrap up this short presentation with 4 simple, easy steps to list building success. We all know there are lots of ways to generate business in the mortgage industry. You can always buy leads and sit and dial for dollars. You can buy advertising in a million places and then hope that the phone rings. I get calls from managers frustrated that a new hire thinks they can come to work and just sit at their desk and wait for the phone to ring. If you're watching this video, then you probably already know that the most successful people in the mortgage industry do one thing. They build a powerful referral business. One of the elements of their referral business is a weekly mortgage newsletter that they use to build and maintain those relationships. All right, now let's get started and build that initial referral list. Before we get started, you might want to grab a pen and a paper or open a program to make some quick notes and to write down some names as they pop into your head. The best way to start is to think about the most obvious contacts that you have. Yes, real estate agents. When we first designed the weekly mortgage newsletter, they were our first targets too. Think about the home builders you know, but don't forget about architects. While architects may leave it to the client or the builder to deal with financing, some like to know with a little more certainty where a client's budget really is toward the beginning of a project. Of course, we can't forget about the attorneys. Now think about those people who are around the mortgage transaction. While they may not be a top source of business, these people talk about mortgage professionals. You want to be one of the people that they are thinking about positively in these conversations. Imagine this. A title rep and a realtor are sitting around a table after an ugly transaction. The real estate agent emphatically declares that they are never using that lender again. Perhaps you closed a deal with that title rep a couple of months ago, and you've stayed in touch. Now imagine that title rep saying, "Have you ever used," insert your name here, "I've really enjoyed the closings with them." It's often those simple conversations that can lead to more business for you. Okay, now that we've got the easy to think of context, let's get creative. Now, start considering all of the people who might use the word mortgage as they interact with their clients and customers. The first couple are pretty easy. Financial planners and CPAs. These professionals run into situations where they recommend mortgage professionals. While you've already thought of CPAs, don't forget about bookkeepers, especially those that focus on small businesses. It is not uncommon for the bookkeeper to also handle the personal finances of a business owner. When cash flow is tight, small business owners often leverage the equity in their home. I know bookkeepers who have filled out a chunk of their clients' loan applications to actually refinance homes. Additionally, think about others who work with individuals in their personal financial situations. So, there's more than just this. Let's hop to a few more. I remember the first time I heard a loan officer say they worked with divorce attorneys. It was one of those aha moments. When a couple is using one attorney or a mediator, it can be a 2-for-1 referral, a refinance for the person staying in the house and a purchase for the one buying a new house. In addition to builders and architects, it's worth building relationships with companies that also focus solely on remodeling. And don't forget about retail bankers and credit union reps. While we often think these organizations provide their own mortgages, oftentimes a bank or a credit union will only offer a limited product line of mortgages. When a banker or a rep runs into a situation where they can't provide for their customer internally, having someone they know will take care of that customer is extremely valuable. All right, if you don't have a list going already, you've probably got one streaming in your head. So let's move on to assembling your list and start with a few things that can keep you from being successful. Too many loan officers start their list by thinking it has to be the best, most perfect, gorgeous list of all time. Skip that idea. A work-in-progress list that is generating referrals is a million times better than a beautiful partial list that someday might do something. Also, don't approach list building as a one-time event. Your list is alive, and it will be something that you work on from time to time. Like so many things in life, it is quality over quantity that counts. A list of 10 people that reliably refer business to you is better than a list of 500 who might. Finally, we had a weekly mortgage newsletter subscriber call a few years ago to angrily cancel his newsletter. "It doesn't work," was his response to my inquiry as to why he was canceling. He explained that he had purchased a list of 10,000 email addresses and sent them the newsletter every week for a month. I can't say that I was surprised that he failed. Remember, building a referral business takes more than just blasting out a newsletter or any other type of spam. If you want to build a successful referral list, there really are only 4 simple steps. If you can, at the end of this presentation, build your list. If you can't do it right now, then schedule time on your calendar. Whenever a customer calls and I hear them say, "Well, I'm going to get my list together soon," I know that I can call them in a few months and they'll still be working on that list. If you want other professionals giving your name as the go-to person in the mortgage industry, you need to build that list now. We're all guilty of this. We have some contacts in Outlook, some in our phones, and some business cards here and there. Now is the time to get this all into one place. If you're not exactly sure where to assemble the list, start with a spreadsheet. Just make sure you have one single place that you're going to manage this list. Of course, that centralized list can change over time, but get in the habit of having one place to manage the list. You also need to be methodical and spontaneous. When you build the list, sit down and focus. Be methodical in going through who you know in each of the various categories. Think it through. Take some time. But remember to always be spontaneous too. If you're driving and you see a park bench with a real estate agent you've worked with before who you forgot to put on your list, pull over. Get them on the list immediately. Finally, one of the best things to do is to think of your list as a garden. You need to continue to water it to make it grow, but you should also consider weeding it occasionally. One of the best weeding methods I have ever heard was from one of our subscribers who goes through her list every 3 months. If she hasn't heard from someone on the list in over 3 months, she calls them and asks whether they would like to continue receiving her newsletter. It reinforces the concept that she is providing something of value to them, and it is not uncommon for them to begin to value the relationship with her. Well, that's it for today's presentation. If you're interested in having your own weekly mortgage newsletter, please visit domymmarketing.com or give us a call at 888-774-0475. Thanks, and make it a great day.